For this week, what we're going to do is based off a theme, and the theme here is going to be how to make a dashboard. So a dashboard essentially is what we have here. With a dashboard, basically up here you've got this box, and it allows you to go through and to make a choice, and when you do that it updates data here, and then it updates down here. So in a lot of the cases we may have 7, 8, 9, 10 graphs sitting on this one page, and instead of doing that, what we do instead is we make it where we have a choice here with this drop down, and then we can pick whichever graph we want to see based on our choices up here. So all we're doing here is we're picking the ACT test. When we do that, it then updates the scores here and updates here and updates here. So this takes up a whole lot less space, and so that's what we're going to look at how to create. Now, so today we'll look at the drop-down list, which is this. Then tomorrow we'll look at the VLOOKUP formula. You'll see up here VLOOKUP, and that's what gives us the scores. Wednesday we'll look at the graph, how we set up this graph to change based on our data. Thursday is a formula called if-error. It just allows us to have zeros down here instead of have a bunch of NAs, which just doesn't look as good. And then Friday we'll look at how to make the grid lines here disappear so that everything looks like just one white page. So what we're going to do is we'll go over here to this VLOOKUP2 page, and we're actually going to create this part, this list. So on this page here, what we'll do is first we're going to come up here, and what we'll have is we'll set it up right in here. Now we're going to go to this ACT scores page because this is where everything is based off of. So I've got here to create a table. So what we did, we go in here and we create this table. Now what's important about this table, when we click on the design tab up here, is notice that this table has a name, and it's called scores. So our first step is going to be create this table, and we want to call it scores, or we want to call it something. We always want to name the table when we're using VLOOKUPs because it's going to make things 10 times easier to work with. Same thing down here, you'll notice this one is called sections. Now what we do on our table is we put our column 1 stuff, our headings right here. And then this is going to be our scores going across. And then the overall down here on the end. What we can always do, of course, is we can click here and click enter, and we'll automatically add to 2018 and add scores going across. These aren't real numbers because you'll notice I've got 2017 in here. We haven't got those scores back. And as you do this, it'll update everything else we need to. So that's our first thing here, is we're going to create this table that we see. Now once our table is created, we'll go back to this VLOOKUP. You'll see here we're going to merge and center. So first we're going to take these 3 columns. We're going to merge and center them. Automatically it kind of wants to go to the middle. We're going to pull this to the side and then bold it and make it bigger. And we're just going to call this pick an ACT test. So that's the first thing we want to do. Underneath that, we're going to do another merge. And this one, of course, is going to be a little different. So on this one, what we want here is we want this to be the drop down. Now a couple of things we'll do with it. Number one is we're going to come in here and just make this a different shade so it's easier to see. We'll use blue this time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do some lines. So we'll do a bottom border here. And then on this one, we'll do the border, and we'll do outside border so it's all around. Just kind of make it stand out a little bit. And then we'll make sure that we go in here and hit bold, so this text will be bolded. Now, to create the text that's in here, this is the important part. You'll notice down here I've got the steps. We're going to go to the Data tab, and we're going to go to where it says Data Validation, which is right here under Data Tools. And we're going to click the one that says Data Validation. Right now, it's set to allow any value, which means we can type anything in there we want. Instead, though, we're going to limit to a list. This is a really, really good thing to use if you've got anything that you want to make sure that people put in exactly. For example, if I want to ensure that when people are doing class codes and they do honors, advanced honors, AP, and IB, instead of typing out honors, AB, IB, I want to make sure that I use a list so that way they're forced to put it in there that way, because if they don't, it may mess up me counting something. By doing it like a list, it'll give them an error if they try to type anything else. So I'm going to say list. And right here for source, I'm going to click on this. Now my source, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to ACT scores. And I'm going to base this off the table. And all I'm going to do is pick these first four. English, math, reading, science, composite. So that is going to be my list. And then I'll click OK. And so now you'll see my drop down contains that information. So I'll just go ahead, I'm going to go to home, and I'm going to go ahead and just make this to the over here on the right. So that's how I do that. So remember, the first step we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to merge and center and make this a little bigger. And then we wanted to make it a different shade so it stood out. We can enlarge the text, make it 12. This one here is 12, so we could make this 12 or 11 or whatever we want to do with it. We bolded it, but the important part was going to this data tab and then choosing validation, data validation, make it a list, and then making the source what's in our table here with English, math, reading, science, composite. And then that gives us the lookup right here that we're going to use. So that's how we do that. So then tomorrow we'll look at how to do the VLOOKUP formula, which is based off of this box. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up saying that we're going to use this box to determine what goes here and what goes here. And so that's what we'll look at tomorrow.